I'm here with the latest robots, the Atlas robots from Boston Dynamics, but to be honest with you, I'm really excited to see the OG, the original robot that birthed all of this. This is the 1990 3D biped robot, and on a personal level, this is by far the coolest thing I have seen at CES. I remember watching this super low-res 240p video in university and being blown away by what could be achieved before Arduinos and Raspberry Pis existed. Heck, this video was filmed before I even existed. Getting to look up close at one of the early bipedal robots, it's amazing to see the DIY nature of the construction compared to the polished commercial robots Boston Dynamics is currently producing. It's literally built on a piece of plywood with hand-soldered circuit boards. While I could be nostalgic about this forever, I guess I should also show you some of the newer developments too. This exoskeleton is designed to help workers avoid injuries and enhance their physical abilities. Spot, the robot dog, was also demonstrating how it can be used for automated inspection. In a sea of AI being slapped into everything and questionable hype marketing, I'm on a mission to find the tech at CES that is actually exciting. This entire booth is made of cardboard, and honestly, that's the least interesting thing about it. Truthfully, I don't know much about flint battery, and so I'd love to hear a little bit about the chemistry behind it, how you create these.
We are making a cellulose chemistry. This battery chemistry actually uses food-grade materials. I can actually drink this right now.
Okay.
And nothing really bad will happen.
May not taste the best, but it's safe to consume.
When you check the materials that we have right now, you can try to smell this.
Okay.
So you don't really smell much.
No, it's pretty neutral, honestly.
Yes, so
like there is a bit of a smell, but it's not obnoxious or anything like that.
So
Yeah.
that is a flint material that we use in our batteries.
Sure.
Now I would like you to smell this, which is used in commercial materials.
Okay.
Used for all lithium batteries and around them.
I'm not sure how this is gonna smell, but I feel like from the framing, it's not gonna be a good experience. Oh, wow. Okay, that's like turpentine or something. That's very vicious on the nose. Okay, wow. I don't want to do that again.
So the first product that we are doing is alkaline battery replacement. It looks something like this.
Okay, so the ones that we're all super familiar with.
Yes, that's right. With the same capacity and comparable pricing and all that stuff, we're able to have lower carbon footprint, and that's a big step when it comes to commercializing a technology like this. This is a ultra-thin battery that we are making. It can be used for consumer electronics, wearables, IoT trackers, devices, Bluetooth beacons, so much more.
I'm here at the Tilta booth, and they have awesome hardware for filmmakers, either from small creators using their phone like myself, or full-on Hollywood setups mounting on cars with gimbals and cranes. I'm having way too much fun with this. Check out this really cool auto-focusing ring. Keep an eye on the screen, you see it's focused in the background, and then if I come in middle of the frame, focuses in on me. As I move out, it adjusts, and if I get out of here, it goes back, focuses right on the background, and I jump in again. It's so fun. After Tilta, I stopped by the Autodesk booth and got to chat to them about the new developments in Fusion, including intent-driven design, AI tools, and electrical workflows. This interview is going to be its own video, so stay tuned for it. And if you do any electrical work in Fusion, you should check out the free-to-download AvNet add-in. The download link is in the description down below. I'm going to get my photo taken by this robot right here. Wow. This is how the photo came out. So I got to meet Kevin from Haptic Robotics over dinner last night, and he was telling me all about their tech. It's some really, really cool stuff. I'm heading over there right now because I have to show you this.
So Haptic Robotics is a company that makes a 3D mouse that gives you force feedback haptics. So you can actually interact with virtual objects and feel what's happening inside of the virtual space. So right now you have a gel in front of you, and it's just a virtual object, but if you move down, like What are you feeling?
Yeah, so like, this is one of those things that you have to experience in person. I'm gonna struggle to communicate this, to be completely honest. But as Kevin was saying, yeah, there's a gel surface here, and as I come in, there's the immediate haptic feedback. So the deformation that you're seeing on the screen here, I'm physically feeling on my hand here, and so I can bounce this like a little ball. I can go up to the boundary conditions, and I can see how it interacts. Like in these corners, you see that there's no movement at all, because there's a defined hard boundary condition, but in the middle it's wobbling. I can go around the edge and run around the edge of that surface. I can slide underneath and stretch it around. And I think the really hard part to communicate here is all these balls that make up the gel surface. I can feel each one of those balls. If you imagine those in 3D, this ball that's on my end effector, I can physically feel it rubbing along this mesh of balls here.
And here we actually have a bone grinding demo from one of our customers. And the task here is to remove the blue protein from this bone. And so I'm feeling every groove. And this is a real patient scan that I'm interacting with. So I could, technically be importing data from a patient that I'm going to be doing a procedure on, and I could be practicing on real patient data if that's what a doctor wanted to do, or I could just be training for a procedure that is really common. So another use case for our product is through teleoperation of robotics. So you take our device, and because it's a 3D mouse, you can intuitively move a robot around in 3D space. We're actually able to stack the Jenga blocks because we can feel what we're doing. We can feel that we press it down.
Oh yeah, like when you place that, you might feel the existing Jenga block assembly.
Totally.
The stuff Haply is doing is really cool. They've even released a smaller desktop unit. I ended up chatting with Kevin for over 40 minutes, and I had a hard time cutting it down for this edit. But we have to move on because I really want to show you what else CES has to offer. Over at Brelion, they unveiled the Ultra Reality Mini, a monitor that gives the experience of a 55-inch virtual screen compressed into a 16-inch aperture and the world's first acoustic wings.
So the whole point here is that we are trying to give you immersion without you having to be taxed by wearing a headset.
Stepping up to the monitor, my ears are encased by the pair of acoustic wings.
Oh, whoa.
So these acoustic wings basically dampen the ambient sound by 12 dB. So it's a passive ambient noise cancellation or noise suppression.
A second product, the Ultra Reality Extend, is the world's first multifocal monitor.
So this one is the world's first display that gives you this monocular depth with multiple layers of depth here. It's a multifocal display.
With 2 virtual layers, it can flicker images between 2 focal depths at a high refresh rate, giving the immersive perception of depth within images. I can't quite do it justice with my camera, but it has the experience of a 3D movie without the glasses. While really neat to experience, the monitors are limited to 1 viewer, and you have to be a specific distance away for the effect to work. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I personally have the disciplined posture to stay in the right viewing location at all times.
I'm here at the Chowway booth, and I've been defeated by a robot playing rock, paper, scissors so many times. Oh, that one. It's good. It's so fast. I don't know, I think it's cheating. And I'm gonna go talk to them and understand exactly how their hands are working and how it is that they're so consistently able to beat me.
After nerding out with the team, my key takeaways are that they have 3 models of hands, each for different use cases, with the most complex model featuring 20 actuators within the hand, enabling complex motion. The control circuit is a work of art in and of itself, shaped to the palm of the hand and jammed to the brim with motor drivers. These tiny little motors, they fit within the phalanges of each finger, with the bigger motor being located in the palm.
This demo is showcasing the resistive touch sensors at the end of each of the fingertips. I'm told there's 96 points of contact in the ends here. You can see everywhere that I'm touching, it's immediately coming up, as well as a force map down the bottom here. After seeing all this exciting tech at CES, if you'd like to get hands on your own, including a framework laptop, Meta Ray-Ban glasses, a Fusion license, and $1,500 cold hard cash, you should head over to hackster.io and sign up for the gadget giveaway. And with that, we've reached the end of CES. Let me know in the comments down below your favorite tech from this year. Also remember to check out the Avnet add-in for Fusion and sign up for the gadget giveaway. I'll see you in the next one.